All right, man, peace. So the NBA GMs recently took a poll, and they came to the conclusion that the favorite for this year's upcoming season to win the Most Valuable Player award for the regular season would be none other than LeBron James. Of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Next up, NBA.com polled the league's general managers, and they picked LeBron James to be this year's MVP.
What?
LeBron got 50% of the vote, although he has not won an MVP award since 2013.
Really?
Kevin Durant finished with the second most votes.
Since 2013? That's 5 years.
Don't do that, Skip.
Well, seriously, it's been forever.
Do you agree with the GM's, Shannon?
I agree with them. And if you notice, they polled him on a lot of other things, too.
They did.
And who was number one in the majority of the categories?
I don't know.
You do know.
I got a whole bunch of notes here about number one and some other categories.
Well, you must have been on that yak last night. You extended like you supposed to.
Yeah,
LeBron, he best on the court, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Skip, look.
One best looking, tallest, widest shoulders, best pecs. Oh, I'm sorry. Those are all my lists.
Here's the thing. He loses Kyrie. I think the MVP has a lot to do about narratives. If you look at Kevin Durant, he left Russ. Oh, poor Russ. Poor Russ. What's Russ going to do now? They're left for dead.
Yep.
31, 10, and 10. He wins the MVP. If you remember when LeBron first went to Miami, he really should have won it that year, but they gave it to D Rose.
Yep.
No. D Rose deserved that MVP award. They had the best record. They kind of came out of nowhere. He deserved the MVP that year. We know that LeBron is the best player in the NBA. He's been that for the last 10 years. But D Rose deserved it that year.
And then LeBron won it back-to-back years. He's going to be asked to do more for the simple fact he lost Kyrie. Now, they do get Isaiah Thomas back in return, but he's gone until January.
I could definitely see them giving LeBron James the MVP. If nothing else, kind of a pity MVP.
So he's going to be on the court. I'm not going to say more. I'm just going to say he's going to be asked to do more because he's going to have to shoulder more of the burden of scoring. Now, we know he's going to get them assists. That's what he do.
Yeah, because the ball's always going to be in his hands.
He always leads his team in assists. Going to be probably, second or third in rebounding. We're talking about moving Kevin Love to center, bringing Double T off the bench. So LeBron going to probably be number 2 in rebounding. He's going to get you 26. So I'm thinking he's going to probably do something like 26, 10, and 8.
I see somewhere around what he did last year, 26, 8, and 8. I don't see 10 and 8.
I mean, that would be a customary. That's just typical for him, Skip. Because the reason why, nobody else. Where was Kawhi? Where did Kawhi finish?
In what?
MVP voting. That's what we talking about.
I don't really care.
You do know.
They say. Well,
what they say goes.
It will not go.
Yes, it will.
Did it go last year? Nope.
I could see them actually giving the award to Kawhi, but it depends on how dominant Kawhi is this year and also how good the Spurs' record is. Because I don't think that Cleveland's going to have the best record. And once they factor in, if, say, Cleveland wins about 53, 54 games and the Spurs win, say, 58 games, they're going to look at the conferences and they're going to look at how much talent is now in the Western Conference. So that will definitely factor against LeBron.
Nope.
He finished third.
Finished third. Who's the best? Who is the best small forward, Skip, by a wide margin?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard.
The best small forward is LeBron, but it's not by a wide margin. Kevin Durant is right there on his heels, and Kawhi Leonard's right there on his heels as well. I don't know. I think that Shannon really is on that yak in the miles.
Kawhi Leonard.
No, he's not. That's not
By
what
a wide margin, but he's the best.
But that's not what the general manager said.
Oh, well, I don't care what they
Yeah,
say.
they use
You know how many
it.
bad draft picks they make every year?
Don't do that,
year
Skip.
after year?
Don't do that, Skip.
Well, I'm not doing it. They just do it. They do it.
Look,
Don't do that, Skip. Give my man his credit. I mean, damn, the man been in the league 15 years. You've been covering the league for 15 decades. You can't get a man some credit? Shit.
LeBron James will win the MVP because I believe now KD's gonna get because they remember what KD did in the finals, but they can't overlook that triple double that LeBron threw up also. They like this man threw up a triple double playing those kind of minutes. Imagine when not.
Well, wouldn't it make sense that based on the minutes that he played that he would get a triple double? Wouldn't it make sense that the more minutes you play, the higher the chances you have to get a triple double, Shannon? I mean, hello.
When now we got Jay Crowder, we got Jeff Green that can take some of those minutes away from LeBron because he's gonna play when he played in the 4th position. Skip, you in a heap of trouble.
A heap of trouble.
The East is in a world of hurt.
Oh, okay. So, I told you 1 year ago about right now that Russell Westbrook would win the MVP and he would average a triple-double for the whole regular season.
Yes, Skip did say that. And like I said, I give Skip credit. He makes a lot of daring and bold predictions before they happen, so that, you know, he can get the credit if they actually come to fruition.
Right. So, I'm here now to tell you.
Okay, I'm glad.
Yeah. Kawhi Leonard is going to win his first MVP. Last year was his breakout year. This is his breakthrough year. But I'm going to give you one big thing. If LeBron does break through and win this year after 5 years of not winning it, it would be highly impressive because no one has ever won it in their 15th NBA season. No one has won it in their 14th NBA season, except for Karl Malone, and that was in a strike-shortened season, which was 50 games back at...
Well, let me say this. Michael Jordan won it in his 13th season, but in his 14th year, because as we all know, he took he took over a year off. But he did win it in his 14th year. His 14th year, but his 13th official NBA season.
Back in 1999, so I'm not even going to count that. Michael Jordan won his 13th NBA season at age 34 in 1998, the year I covered the Bulls. It was extraordinary. And I do think LeBron has a shot this year because...
And the year that Michael won it that year, the 97-98 season, he actually was 35 at the end of that season, and he played the whole season with a dislocated index finger on his shooting hand.
Because voters are they give him a pass, they love him, they want
Give
him
him
to
a
be...
pass on what?
On everything he says and does.
Absolutely. They absolutely give him a pass because the liberal media is behind him, because he's the avatar for the liberal black athlete, or at least that's what they want him to be, who's going to help them fill their news cycles. Okay? And he is also a corporate asset, a corporate whore for Nike and a lot of his other corporate sponsors.
That hurts his basketball team, like, I don't have enough help, we're top heavy as you know what.
And they were.
You know? And so...
How could you be top heavy when they were by far the team that was the farthest over the salary cap? I mean, give me a break.
So maybe on career achievement, he's got a shot.
Oh, my goodness.
Just on career achievement.
Thank you, Skip. That's what I said. He might get a pity MVP, a career achievement MVP, similar to the one that they gave Kobe back in 2008.
Maybe on sympathy vote, he's got a shot here, because I think a lot of the people who vote here are starting to think it's just pathetic.
And let me say this, even though a lot of Kobe fanboys come on the comments and they talk about how I belittle Kobe, let me say this. If Russell Westbrook could get an MVP for last season, then Kobe should have got one for 06. All right? By those parameters, if you're going to give a guy an MVP just for stuffing the stat sheet and hogging the ball, like Westbrook did last year, and give him the MVP, then Kobe should have got it for 06. I don't think that Westbrook should have got the MVP last year, but I knew that they were going to give it to him. Okay? Me personally, if we're just going by a team that was winning and the best player on a team that was winning, I might have given it to Kawhi last year. All right? I might have given it to him last year. Either him or maybe LeBron. But I definitely would not have given it to Westbrook. Right? Or maybe even James Hardhead down there with the Rockets. But not Westbrook. Not on the team that has 45, 46 wins. If he could have got it, then they should have gave it to Kobe back in 06. If that's the case. If you're going to give it to a guy hogging a damn ball.
That poor LeBron James, he's now lost 5 finals, and he's going to probably lose a 6th final, right? And so just on the sympathy vote, I think...
We can almost guarantee he's going to lose a 6th. I mean, unless Kevin Durant gets hurt or Steph Curry gets hurt, he's going to lose the 6 finals. And you notice even Shannon didn't cut Skip off when he said that.
I think he's got a shot. And I think it would just be a good story. People are going to get... It's like Saquon Barkley. Oh, he's the front runner. Because of what? And I think LeBron's going to be the front runner going in because of what? Because I got a bunch of questions to ask here.
We'll ask them then.
Well, let me answer for you then. Go ahead.
All right. So...
Let me answer your dumbass questions. Go ahead with that ridiculous list you got.
So yesterday, you told me that you love the new All-Star system of
I do.
because you think the East is all-time pathetic. Did
Correct.
you say that?
Yep.
It is the starless East.
Yes.
So how can we have an MVP who gets to play in the East? He should be disqualified because of his lack of competition in the East.
Well,
it's so much harder for Kawhi to win it in the West because his degree of difficulty is much higher than the East. And you told me that.
That's a good question, but I actually think that it will be leaned toward Kawhi or whoever the most dominant player is in the Western Conference, because it will be factored in. The competition level will be considered so much higher in the Western Conference. I think that that's one of the things that will weigh against LeBron. So they're going to be paying very close attention to LeBron's performances against the Western Conference elite. They're going to look at how he performs against Golden State and the Rockets and OKC and San Antonio and Memphis, etc. during the regular season. Of course, the games against Boston. They're going to be watching those games closely because LeBron definitely is a front-running type player. He's one of those guys that, he likes to bottom feed. Of course, he's known for having great performances in big games in the playoffs throughout his career. But he is a front-running type of player. So those games are going to play a major factor in who gets the MVP this year.
Did Tom Brady win the MVP playing in the AFC East?
So?
Okay,
but that's not like a whole conference that's pathetic.
Do they not play the West?
A little bit, but not a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they play the East a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Well, I answer your question. Let's go to question number 2, because question number 1 was dumb as hell.
Shouldn't he be disqualified, Shannon Sharp?
Magic
by
Johnson,
your argument?
Magic
I'm
Johnson
turning your argument against you.
Magic Johnson
it's biting
played in the
you
West.
right on the behind.
Magic Johnson played in the West.
Okay, but so what?
It was terrible back then.
Okay, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like this. It wasn't this kind of inequality.
No. We've never seen
anything like this. And then this is the question that just irks me. It just it hurts me to my soul. How?
And even when Magic Johnson was in the West, let's be very clear. You had guys like Moses Malone that played in the West in the early 80s. You had teams like the Denver Nuggets with Alex English and Kiki Vandeweghe. You had Seattle with the X-Man and Dale Ellis. In the late 80s, you got the emergence of the Mavericks with Rolando Blackman and Derek Harper and Sam Perkins, Mark Aguirre. You had a lot of guys. Portland with Clyde Drexler, Jerome Kersey, Terry Porter. Yeah, you had teams that could get it popping back then. In the 80s. Today in the East, nah, ain't nobody out there can get it popping. Boston gonna make a little noise, and maybe the Wizards might have a little something to say. Maybe the Wizards and the Heat. We'll see how good the Heat are. They finished last season with one of the league's best records. We'll see if they can carry that momentum over to this season. But we'll see.
How can we be pushing someone to be an MVP who for the last 3 years readily admitted he needed a closer and he deferred to Kyrie Irving in the clutch every time?
He didn't defer.
Really?
No, Skip.
And that's your MVP candidate?
Yo, Skip be flustering Shannon when he say that shit. I don't understand. How could he be MVP when, every time the going gets tough, he pees his pants? Shannon, can you break that down for me?
Being the great teammate that he is.
So
being unselfish. That he was willing to step aside.
Yeah.
But here's the fact.
Yeah, also the fact that the man has panic attacks in the clutch. Come on, Shannon. That is LeBron's Achilles heel. In clutch moments, he has panic attacks.
The thing. Now he doesn't have Kyrie. So guess what?
What?
Now he doesn't have Kyrie. We ain't got to worry about no closer. We're not going to be in that situation.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to be in that situation. I told him, when we woke up this morning, I said, baby, it's time for you to open and close. And everything in the middle. Don't worry about what they're saying about you. I'm going to take care of Skip's ass this morning. He talks some shit, I'm going to let him know. My man's going to be the alpha and the omega. Beginning and the end. He's going to close the hell out of the game. He's going to close the hell out of the game and the season. Game 7, pass to LeBron, swish. And I'm going to be the one that passes it to you. Don't worry about it, baby. I got you.
Okay, so by the way, the GMs were also asking another category. Who do you want to take the shot with the game on the line? And Steph ran away with that when he had 55% of the vote, and LeBron garnered all of 3% of the vote.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I might want to have Kyrie take the shot with the game on the line. That's close, though. Steph or Kyrie, that's a coin toss.
of the vote.
But the mere fact that he got votes.
Not really.
What about Kawhi? Did Kawhi get any votes?
Nobody should have.
Oh, no.
I'm about to get to that. So how can we make a case for an MVP candidate who just last year shot a career low 67% from the free throw line, and we're trying to push him as an MVP? You're kidding me. So there were 13 players last year who shot 500 plus free throws.
Well, Skip, I mean, by that type of logic, Will Chamberlain never should have got an MVP.
By far the worst on the list. But
Or Shaq.
by far was LeBron James. And next up on the list in 12th spot was Andrew Wiggins at 76%. So he was way ahead of LeBron at 67%. So he was the bottom of the barrel. It's called a free throw. And you're saying, look how many shots he leaves on the table, how many points he leaves on the table for his basketball team.
Let me ask you, if you don't
So
mind
really?
me, if you don't mind me
Really?
asking, if you don't mind me asking, I know a guy that won 4 MVPs and shot probably 50% or lower.
Yeah.
Will Chamberlain.
Oh, good retort, Shannon. Good retort, bro.
Did they hold that against him?
Or we could do Shaq if you
Okay,
want to.
yeah.
Yeah, but they were completely dominant at the rim. They were unstoppable at the rim.
Oh, and Bron
so
unstoppable.
they made up for. Well, he's not that unstoppable at the rim.
You told me all the time, LeBron, go to the rim because no one can stop you.
Absolutely. And Skip also says that LeBron is the best penetrator with the basketball that he's ever seen. So Shannon definitely won that round.
Now to make your argument,
No, that can't keep you from the free throw line, from which he runs constantly in late game situations, as we saw late in Game 3 last year in his house.
26, 8, and 8, which were career highs in both assists and rebounds. Almost 9. And he averaged 26, which he hadn't done since his second year in Miami.
And by the way, LeBron went into last year's playoffs as the all-time worst three-point shooter in the history of NBA playoffs. Now he's an MVP,
but
front runner.
Whose three-point average is worse? Michael Jordan or LeBron James in the regular season?
Well, it's tough to make that argument because Jordan didn't play in the three-point era. And, it's interesting that, as Shannon states, 8 assists and 8 rebounds are LeBron's career highs. I believe that Larry Bird had career highs that were higher in both categories. So it is what it is in regards to that. But, yeah, Jordan did not play in the three-point era. Larry Bird career, I believe, is a three-point shooter somewhere in the 30s as far as his percentage from three. If Larry Bird was playing today, he'd be shooting in the mid 40% because, the game today has just leaned much more towards three-point shooting.
Because you do know.
No.
Skip always said the same shit. He's so disingenuous. Whenever the point don't mix for him, I don't know. Well, what does your research say? Stop asking me.
No. Let me continue. Okay, go ahead. Do you want to finish that?
I want you to stop with this blasphemy.
Okay, there's no blasphemy going on here. So last year, Kawhi Leonard, he plays in the shadows in San Antonio, and he doesn't have a big personality, and he's not the media darling that LeBron James is.
Yeah, they can't use Kawhi to push their liberal agendas, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him to win the MVP. They're going to have to think of something tricky. Jordan and the crew over at Jumpman are going to have to create some type of marketing campaign for Kawhi in order for him to get the MVP.
Because LeBron's always available to the media and always says and does all the right things, and he's good copy. We talk about him every day on the show, and we never talk about Kawhi Leonard because he's a shrinking violet. He is a reluctant superstar. He doesn't want to talk to the media. They got him to talk to the media after one of the Memphis wins last year, and I was shocked. I didn't think he could speak. That hurts him. But he was third last year in PER, player efficiency rating, in the NBA, behind Russell and Kevin Durant. And his next closest teammate in PER was Pau Gasol at 43rd in the NBA. So Kawhi plays in the West with little to no help.
I agree. He has far less talent around him than LeBron does. I definitely agree with Skip on that one. Now, you have the Popovich factor, and, Popovich being an MK handler, CIA mind control training techniques that he's very well versed in. It is what it is. Certain people might be incredulous at that statement, but yes, Greg Popovich has a history associated with the CIA. Okay, so that has a big influence on his ability to coach, to mentally suggest things to his team subconsciously that will allow them to be more fluid on the basketball court. So that factor is always a huge factor. Same thing with Steve Kerr and back in the day, Phil Jackson, etc. Chuck Daly, etc.
Help compared to everybody else's help, right? Russ had more help last year than Kawhi did.
If you don't mind me asking you, in game 6 of the second round of playoffs, when Houston Rockets were playing the San Antonio Spurs, and Kawhi did not play, can you tell the fans at home the final score of that ball game?
What you tell them?
Skip, I'm asking you a question.
What did the Heisman winner tell you?
Hey, he didn't tell me nothing.
Yeah, he did. Did you look this up on your own?
Okay,
that would be
no,
a first if you did.
Yo, Shannon be asking Skip questions that get Skip flummoxed. All the time I've ever seen Stephen A. and Skip go back and forth, I've never seen Skip have to kowtow so many times to questions that were asked to him. I mean, Shannon be having Skip plead the fifth numerous times in debates. Shannon does his thing.
You did.
Okay, how about this here?
You know, I got a better one for you.
Can you tell the people at home when Kawhi sat out, what was the San Antonio Spurs record?
All I can tell the people is that last year in Game 1 at Golden State against a team that is now prohibitively favored, like the all-time biggest favorite in the history of the NBA preseason, that team at home in Game 1 of the conference finals was down 23 points to Kawhi and company.
You know all that shit, but you can't answer my damn question, huh? Maybe it's because when Kawhi was out, they was the only team in the league had a better record without his ass. They was ready to win 74 games if he didn't play. So kiss my ass. LeBron's the MVP. How about that?
When Zaza Pachulia stepped on underneath Kawhi's ankle, and he nearly broke it and was gone for the rest of the series and playoffs.
Can you also tell the
Think about that. Think about that. LeBron
also
had little to no chance, but Kawhi had his team in commanding position to take over the series against the eventual champs that beat your guy in 5 games.
Can you tell the people at home at what tense did you use was in? What does was represent?
Past.
Okay.
You know, but it just happened. It was last year. They would have.
What happened?
I just think they would have beaten.
Did they get?
State.
Did they get swept?
Well, he was gone. That's all you need to know.
Okay. LeBron doesn't miss games.
Yeah. So then in the postseason last year.
Okay.
That's another check for Shannon.
Okay.
If we just do postseason player efficiency rating,
yes.
Guess who was number 1 in the whole NBA? To my point, Kawhi Leonard was number 1. Now I'll give you this: LeBron was second, but I'm making a case for Kawhi beating out LeBron for MVP. So I love that. And that.
Well, it's hard to pull a stat like that when Kawhi plays make so many fewer games than LeBron actually played. So, I mean, that's kind of hard.
And that wasn't that far past tense. That just happened in last year's playoffs.
But Skip, did you factor in that he played 6 fewer games than LeBron?
Damn. Me and Shannon are on a good wavelength right now. There's no doubt about that. You have to factor that in.
LeBron?
No.
Why didn't you?
Because he was special in the games that he
A guy averages a triple-double in the finals?
Help me out. Did LeBron ever have his team up 23 on Golden State? I don't
had him up.
that.
No.
Yeah, well, he had him up by in the 30s in last year's finals, in the 2016 finals, pardon me. I'm not sure how many points they were down in Game 4 of the 2017. These finals that just passed, but they were down big at certain points in that game.
No, well, at one point he had them up 12, and then he took a 30-second break, and when he came back in the game, they were up 1. Oh, yeah,
so he was on the floor while they were on 28-4 run while LeBron was on the floor. That's just pathetic.
The man couldn't take a break. This is what we know. We saw the San Antonio Spurs win by a record margin in Game 6 when Kawhi did not play.
Yeah.
We also see them lose 1 game when Kawhi Leonard did not play. We know
another clutch stat, because we know that LeBron was born without the clutch gene, that
oh boy, I give Skip credit though. He coined that term, and that is very apropos in regards to LeBron.
That last year in real plus minus in late and close situations, that Kawhi was number 1 in the NBA in the regular season at plus 62. LeBron was tied for 33rd. And then I haven't even brought up the fact that in the GM poll, they had all kinds of questions about who's the best defensive player, who's the best perimeter defender. Kawhi swept all the defensive categories, just ran away with them.
And those are great stats. LeBron is an overrated defender. He's been overrated defensively for the last 5 to 6 years. At one time, he was very good when he wanted to be. He was also a great help defender, but I don't think at any point in his career was he ever as good on the ball as Kawhi Leonard is right now.
He tied for the toughest player in the NBA, Kawhi Leonard. And LeBron...
And as much credit as LeBron has gotten throughout his career for his chase down blocks, he's never gotten 100 blocks in a season, something that Michael Jordan did twice. And or at least twice. And for those of you who are not familiar with it, you can do a YouTube search for Michael Jordan chase down blocks, and you can see how he was the one who really brought that into vogue in the NBA for a wing player to chase down blocks. I mean, really, you can go back to a player like Bobby Jones with the 76ers in the late 70s, early 80s, but Jordan, the man had over 100 blocks in a season at least twice, which once again is something that LeBron never did. D Wade did do it though. Like I've stated, D Wade is closer to Kobe than Kobe is to Jordan.
LeBron, defensively, he's just not what he used to be.
No.
You know it, and I know it.
Okay.
He doesn't try hard on defense the way he used to.
Okay, when they said who was the best small forward, Kawhi Leonard also plays that position.
What did we hear from all the greats?
Skip, I'm just asking.
Wait, what did we hear from?
Skip, I'm just asking you a question. Are we having a debate or are we having an argument? Let me know. Because I only argue with LeBron. No, I'm not here to argue with your ass. I get paid to debate you and tear your ass up like I do every morning.
From Michael Jordan at the end of the year, best two-way player in basketball is Kawhi Leonard.
Because he tried.
We heard it from Steve Kerr. We heard it from Reggie Miller. We heard it from coach after coach. Best two-way player in basketball. Two ways, because you do have to play defense.
That was never an argument when Michael Jordan was in the league. But Michael Jordan would do everything he possibly can to try and diminish LeBron because he realized the only guy that could theoretically.
Man, please, you couldn't even get that shit out. No, I don't even know why you fix your mouth to say that bullshit, Shannon. Let's be for real. Michael Jordan does not need to diminish LeBron James. There's nothing that LeBron James is going to do to catch Michael Jordan. Do I believe that Michael Jordan is a little harder on LeBron than other guys? Yes, I do, because I think that Michael Jordan knows that the media is trying to create and concoct a curve for LeBron to be considered on his level. I think that he knows that LeBron is trying to eclipse him without actually matching his accomplishments, and those things irk Michael Jordan. But this notion by Shannon that Michael Jordan goes out of his way to say bad things about LeBron because LeBron has a legitimate chance of actually overcoming his legacy, that's asinine. Let me rewind it back a little bit so you can see how Shannon starts saying something and then realizes how stupid it sounds at the end.
Catch it.
Because you do have to play defense.
Which that was never an argument when Michael Jordan was in the league. But Michael Jordan would do everything he possibly can to try and diminish LeBron because he realized the only guy that could theoretically.
Shannon is so funny. How could you do something in real time and in reality theoretically? A theory is just an idea that you try to substantiate through empirical data and hope to come to a conclusion that you could actualize. There is no empirical data that you can use to actualize that sentiment that LeBron James can overcome Michael Jordan, other than in the Twitterverse with people 25 and younger. Please.
Catch him as LeBron. Okay, but skip you to that small forward by 2-1 margin over Kevin Durant, who finished second. Who's the third best power for a position which he does not play? Who was voted that, Skip?
LeBron.
Best passer.
What have I told you? What have I told you from the start of our relationship? LeBron's the best passer in basketball until now. We're about to talk about that. But that's
hold on, Skip. Best leader.
I agree that LeBron is the best passer in the NBA right now. He is the best passer in the NBA, even though he's not as good a passer as Larry Bird was. And the reason why I bring that up is because I think that when you talk about LeBron, you really can't compare him to today's players because he doesn't really have a peer. When you talk about LeBron, you have to judge him in juxtaposition to all-time greats because that is what he is. LeBron is on my top 10 list. I mentioned that already. He's in the. I will put him in the bottom 5, but by the end of his career, he'll probably be in the top 5. But he's in my top 10, and once again, no, Kobe is not.
Who's voted that?
That's just flat out wrong.
Y'all just asked
That's
you a
just
question.
wrong.
Can you ask?
All those stupid GMs.
No.
We've been arguing for 15 minutes. You haven't answered one question. Goddamn. I mean, shit. Really wish I could choke you.
GMs.
No, not.
Yeah.
Oh.
And all those. If you knew who all those guys were and you looked at their draft picks, you'd say, that guy thought that?
You know what?
Really?
Those same G.
That is a good counter response by Skip. A lot of these GMs are fucking idiots.
GMs voted Kawhi Leonard the best perimeter defender,
Yeah.
the best two-way player. Those same.
That's just glaring, but it's just like a landslide. Everybody gets that.
So let me.
Yeah, I think that LeBron is better than KD by a margin of 2-1. I don't know. I would need this. I would need to have that qualified. I would like to know by what distance each person who was part of this poll thought that LeBron was better than KD. I mean, I think that LeBron is definitely better than KD, but it's to me it's like a 1-1A situation.
So I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly.
Yeah.
When they vote Kawhi something, they're
So even you acknowledge and admit that LeBron's not the defender he used to be.
No. Attrition will do that to you.
Yeah.
Tell Kawhi Leonard to talk to me in year 15.
Okay.
And let's see if he's still trying to D up like he's.
That's why I'm picking him, because he's not in year 15. He's just entering his prime.
Good response by Skip. We are judging them and comparing them in real time, Shannon. We can't judge LeBron and his career in totality against Kawhi Leonard.
He's still basically a baby in the NBA.
Well, consider he averaged 7 points his rookie year. He should have a lot of energy reserved.
Okay.
Well, it's hard to say that and use that as an attempt to diminish Kawhi. He did come in as a rookie on a team that already was established. LeBron came onto a team that was looking to him to be the savior from the get-go. So Kawhi had to come in and really show how great a player he was and how great a player he could be by the few minutes that he got, and he earned his way to the top. So.
And 13
You can make an argument for LeBron as MVP every year, but he's not going to win it this year because the East is all-time lead.
I think he might win.
No.
It's that
And the Warriors are going to cancel each other out. So.
I can't believe you would say that.
Should watch for Kawhi.
You see you wearing that wine?
Next up,
You see how you wearing that wine, Skip? All I need is a glass. That's all I need. All I need is a glass. All right, so now they decided to add the idiot Rob Parker into the cipher. Let's see what he has to add to the conversation.
NBA.com polled the league's general managers, and they picked LeBron James to be this year's MVP. LeBron got 50% of the vote. Although he has not won an MVP award since 2013, Kevin Durant received the second most votes. Rob's still with us. Rob, are you surprised they picked LeBron?
No, I'm not. And actually, I think LeBron will win the MVP.
I agree. At least I agree that he'll be the favorite. I think that Kawhi is going to have a great season. I think that if he has a great season and his team wins more than LeBron does, that he may be able to steal it. But right now, I think that LeBron is the emotional, the sentimental favorite right now.
Now, because there's nothing else for him. He realizes that he can't win a title, so this will be his chance.
Get out of here.
Skip, this is where he's going. He's got to hold on to something. You can't rest all the games like he did a year ago. What are you resting for? To get to the NBA Finals for what?
That was the question.
You won't be able to rest. And Shannon, you know this. He has to go out and prove to everybody that he didn't need Kyrie. That he's a great player without Kyrie. That will be his motivation.
I think that's asinine. I think that the last thing that LeBron is thinking about is being able to prove that he doesn't need Kyrie. He came back to Cleveland already having 2 championships before he even knew who Kyrie was as a teammate. I scrutinize LeBron just like I scrutinize everybody else, but that's just asinine that LeBron would actually have that as a motivation. Now, I believe that when they play Boston, he's going to want to send a message to Kyrie to make him understand how fortunate Kyrie was to be able to benefit from playing alongside an all-time great like a LeBron James. But no, LeBron's not thinking about that. LeBron's thinking about trying to maximize the minutes that he has left. Once a player gets in the early 30s, he starts looking at his career in regards to how many minutes he has left. He starts looking at his career as a countdown, as opposed to, climbing the mountain now. He's on the other side. He's starting to walk down, and soon he's going to start sliding down.
Kyrie left, and you know what happened? I wound up being the MVP of the NBA. It's all going to be about trying to prove that Kyrie was wrong to walk out on him, and that he still can play. And why save any energy when you're not going to win the NBA Finals anyway?
First of all, we talking about he last won the MVP in 2013. 2013, not 2003. Okay?
That's 5 years ago.
Wow.
What happened?
So what? It was 5 years ago. I remember it like it was yesterday when LeBron brought home that MVP trophy. We put it on top of the fireplace. Sat back, watched some TV, snuggled, and talked about, how great he played that season and what we had planned for the playoffs. I remember it, I don't know why you guys are always trying to make fun of my baby like that. Man goes all out. He should have won it in 2014, 15, 16, and 17. Man played 15 years. He should have had 15 MVPs. But you can't always get what you want.
Wow. He won 4 of them in a 6-year span. What happened?
No one's ever won in his 15th season.
But he gonna do it.
Oh.
Nobody's ever thrown 10 touchdowns with no interceptions at age 40. Tom Brady doing it.
Yeah. Talking about no one's ever won MVP in his 15th year. Well, his name is LeBron. His name ain't no one.
He shattered the mold. He shattered the mold.
Don't tell me, tell him.
It's early for Brady, trust me.
4-time league MVP. Let's see, 4-time league MVP. I don't really know what he has to prove. 3-time final.
I agree with that. I mean, that's just silly. But, Rob Parker's known for just being a jackass.
Kyrie walked out on him. He had a star player who said, I don't want to play with you.
That's okay. Guess what? LeBron James won those MVPs when Kyrie was in college. You know that? He didn't need Kyrie. Kyrie needed him. That's why Kyrie got, who Kyrie got when he was the lead dog in Cleveland? Andrew Wiggins, Deion Waiters, Anthony Bennett. That's who Kyrie got. That's what Kyrie was doing. So, just in case.
I thought this was about LeBron.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I thought too. All it's about is Shannon venting as usual on Kyrie. I mean, damn.
You know what it is? You're right.
He's mad because I brought up Kyrie.
You know what? You're right. They also asked these GMs, they asked a couple of other questions too. The best small forward, who was that? LeBron. Player that forces opposing coaches to make the most adjustments. You know who was not number one in any list, Skip? One Kevin Durant.
You know what's
or Kawhi. I got another list. Best coach, LeBron. Best GM, LeBron. Best owner, LeBron. Best water boy, LeBron James. Best security guard, LeBron, LeShannon James.
What's crazy is on that GM question too, they asked who was the FFO, and LeBron's name was on there.
Whatever, Skip.
Finance
Rob,
player of all
y'all
time.
two look, I get it. I've been in the business 31 years. Skip, I've been in the business 40 years. Y'all two in cahoots. And then you got Joy, who's been in the business for a decade. All 3 of y'all in cahoots to try to demean and diminish what LeBron has accomplished.
Because you're just a...
Got me here mad as hell. I can't even get my damn words out. Demean, diminish, denigrate, diminish. Damnation, tarnation. I mean, shit. Let me get my thesaurus.
Just a rookie in this business.
Yeah,
what do you know?
Yeah,
right.
But I tell you what, I'm telling you right now, Skip Bayless, you're gonna eat those words. So will you, Rob Parker, when he wins the MVP and he wins the Finals
I said
MVP.
he's going to win the MVP.
No, because he's gonna win it because he can't win anything else. Let him hang his hat on that.
I could see everybody just handing LeBron one last MVP on.
I absolutely agree with that sentiment. I mean, this season has a LeBron James Pity MVP award written all over it. I mean, I could just see it like that. It's just in the cards because almost everybody else, all of these other stars have packed together so much that it's going to be hard for any other star to really get an MVP award. Because the main front runners from last year had stars join their team, so they're going to look at LeBron as if everybody left them, even though he pretty much added a guy who was probably top 10 in MVP voting last year in Isaiah Thomas. Well, I mean, we'll see.
Career achievement, because there's a big sympathy vote out there for LeBron because he's on his way to losing his 6th NBA Finals, and people are just going to say, this poor, pitiful LeBron James, we got to give him something. Just pat him on the head with an MVP this
For real?
For real is what you told me yesterday about...
Yes, for real. It's realer than a $3 bill.
About the Eastern Conference. You said, Shannon Sharp, whose opinion I deeply respect.
Whatever. I know him.
He says the Eastern Conference talent is at an all-time worst. Historically bad Eastern Conference. All the superstars have vacated to the Western Conference. Left is only LeBron and Kyrie. That's about it. Period. End of story. So how can you push for that man to win an MVP in that conference? Because it's just too easy.
Easy. Well, you're the sexiest man in America. How could I not push for you? LeBron James has been breaking barriers for the last 15 years. Been breaking hearts, too. Remember, he broke my heart back in 2008. We had to go to marriage counseling. Ever since then, I've been by his side. I love him.
You're disqualified. Your degree of difficulty is too easy.
They're still professionals.
Oh, they're still professionals.
400.
Really?
There are 400 of the greatest players ever in the NBA. Now, most of the talent is in the West. Okay, Skip, I give you that.
That's why the league changed the All-Star game, because they couldn't even accumulate enough players to make
Fine.
the team.
You're disqualified. You cannot win MVP out of the Eastern Conference. And by the way, now odds-on favorite for MVP, LeBron James, for 3 straight years, the last 3 years, he deferred to Kyrie because he needed a closer.
No, he didn't.
Absolutely. And that's why they brought in D-Wade. D-Wade has been brought in not only to provide psychological support for LeBron James, but also to be there in those clutch moments, to be a guy that LeBron can defer to, that a guy that LeBron feels like he can trust, a guy who has what LeBron calls championship DNA, really the guy who gave LeBron the championship DNA. Right, when he had that talk with him after, LeBron imploded against the Mavericks in 2011. D-Wade sat him down and divested a lot of the authority and the power and the clout of that Miami Heat squad to LeBron, so that LeBron could feel more comfortable in leading the charge, knowing that D-Wade was going to have his back. So that was essential that they brought D-Wade in after Kyrie left, because I'm sure that hurt LeBron psychologically when Kyrie left. I have little doubt about that, because LeBron is mentally fragile like that.
He has no clutch gene. He said, "You do it for me." So now that Kyrie is gone, you're saying, "Oh, it's okay now. We'll make LeBron the MVP." Really? The same guy who shot a career low from the free throw line, 67%? That's just pathetic.
And had a career
That's so
high
beneath him.
I just don't understand. How could you even be in an All-Star game? You shooting under 70% from the free throw line? Really? Wow. He should be in the D-League, Shannon.
And Skip, LeBron, this is what we know. He's the most unselfish mega superstar that's ever played the game. For him to say, you know what?
I have no idea what he's basing that bullshit on. If we're gonna go there, as far as being unselfish, I guess he's going to try to make the point that he divested the clutch portions of the game to Kyrie out of the kindness of his heart. But if we want to talk about unselfishness, we'd have to go first by what I stated about Dwayne Wade.
Kyrie, I got no problem.
And then we got to go over to Stephen Curry. Now, Stephen Curry, what he did was truly magnanimous.
That's not being unselfish. That's just being pathetic. Like, I can't do this, you do it. That's not unselfish.
We saw the man average a triple-double in the finals. We see a man lead the entire finals.
He can stuff that stat sheet like...
Absolutely. That's what he's great at. And understand something, too. One of the main reasons why LeBron played so out of sight, in those games, was because there was really little to no pressure. That's when he really started to stuff the stat sheet, when he realized that there was no pressure, that they really couldn't beat him.
Like nobody. You know it, and I know. I give you that.
I don't know shit. Stop telling me that. Next time we go to commercial, I'm gonna show you what I know. I know how to whoop ass.
Give you that.
Did Jordan stuff the stat sheet like that? Why couldn't he?
He stuffed the mantle with trophies. That's what he
Bill,
stuffed.
he ain't got more than Bill. He ain't got more than Bill.
Well, he didn't play as long as Bill did.
And Bill Russell played 13 years. Michael Jordan played 16.
And Bill played in the...
Well, Jordan played 15, but Bill played 13. But Bill played in the league with only 8 teams. He played in the league with no free agency, and he played in the league with the most cunning and wily front office man to ever be in the league, in Red Auerbach.
in the league with 8 teams.
I don't care if he had 2 teams. So he beat that team 11 times.
So how well does LeBron James in his 15th season play defense? Like not? He just doesn't play anymore. And I don't blame him.
How well was Michael Jordan playing defense in year 15?
He was really good.
Stop playing, Skip.
In year 13, he could really play defense because they shut everybody down.
Absolutely.
LeBron James was all the NBA defense in year 13. What they got to do with anything, Skip?
LeBron stayed.
Yeah, but did he deserve it? That's the question.
Stayed 3 years at North Carolina, so he got a later start.
Jordan, right?
Sorry,
right.
Why did he come out to the NBA?
So you
He should
realize
came straight out of high
in the
school.
same poll that
Shit, how come he ain't come out of elementary? That's what Jordan should have did, Michael Jeffrey, since he's so damn good. Should have came right out of elementary, right out of damn junior high school. 12 years old in NBA. You know? With bald-headed ass.
the GMs were asked who's the best defender in the NBA. It was Kawhi Leonard in a
Why are we
landslide.
talking about Kawhi?
Wait a second. Then best perimeter defender, Kawhi Leonard in a landslide. And I look at PER, player efficiency rating, for just last season, regular and playoffs. Number 1 in the playoffs was Kawhi Leonard.
Well, look, we already know what Skip feels about this situation. We know how Shannon feels. I'm going to close it out with that. This was the issue on whether or not LeBron was going to win the MVP. I believe he will, but we'll see. Anyway, peace.